Hello, I'm Paul Sullivan, and I'm presenting on Welfare State Futures, an article about social welfare system in the European Union. So a little bit of background on the current social welfare system, austerity measures in the European Union, as well as certain mechanisms such as the Stability and Growth Pact, have kind of hindered social welfare systems in the member states. This has resulted in criticism of the European Union, as well as uh, blame being laid on immigrants for exploiting social welfare systems in the various member states. Although that's not actually the case, and the data has showed that immigrants pay more than their share into these social welfare schemes. Um, Nonetheless, the EU has decided to sort of overhaul the system in the form of a new pillar, and that is the pillar of social rights. So the rights outlined in the article are the right to welfare and retraining, the right to health and healthcare, the right to long-term care, and the right to childcare. So the right to welfare and retraining kind of focuses on more comprehensive unemployment systems and access to retraining in the event of layoff or an unemployment, as well as more emphasis on care for older individuals in the workforce who are laid off. It didn't mention as much the retraining for older workers. The article mentioned that countries or areas with programs such as these are attractive to international businesses or international corporations, as the workforce is more equipped to respond to whatever needs that corporation may have. The right to childcare needs to be expanded to be a little bit more of a holistic approach rather than kind of a patchwork approach, which is currently the system. Varying companies or varying providers kind of have a different strategy for dealing with childcare. So that needs to be refined in order to benefit the actual recipients who are the children and prevent child poverty. The healthcare is kind of a tricky situation for the EU to cope with, as different areas with different socioeconomic makeups, different cultural makeups have a different response to the demand for healthcare. So by improving training, by improving pay for healthcare workers, and by working to kind of overcome those socioeconomic, cultural differences, healthcare providers on a more local basis can provide better tailored care to their patients. In long-term care, focus needs to be placed on patient independence, as the studies have shown that the greatest concern for those receiving elder care was independence and freedom to determine daily routines and aspects of daily life. So by focusing on this quality of life measure, the article called it the long-term care quality of life measure. The programs can monitor long-term care and patients in a way that continues to allow those patients to preserve their quality of life and their freedom to exist. So in my own research, I looked at kind of the way that Italy specifically has been affected by these programs. And in, as I mentioned, the Stability and Growth Pact has kind of been a hindrance on social welfare systems within the member states, forcing countries to refrain from deficit spending, which is typically a tool used to expand the welfare state. It's it's a cyclical process. So in order to get the benefits from the social welfare programs, you need to invest in them. In order to invest in them, it occasionally involves deficit spending. So by restricting the amount of deficit spending countries are able to do as a means of remaining competitive and important in the EU economy, in the monetary union, these countries don't have as much freedom to spend on social welfare programs. So in Italy, one example of that was cuts to the education system and associated programs, which has obviously not benefited Italy. Cost of attendance have gone up between 25% and 100%, depending on the school, and access to higher education has been limited. So hopefully with the implementation of this new pillar of social rights, that situation will be amended. Thank you very much, and I apologize for the video quality. My computer is not too great at recording, but thank you very much.